November 30th emergency. Archangel Michael says, I order you to open this. A powerful witch did black magic on your photo. Huge financial loss of $15 million is being triggered. You will cry a lot if you ignore this. Open it immediately. My beloved child, there is a trembling in the spirit realm tonight, a shaking that Archangel Michael has been trying to deliver to you for days, and now, on November 30th, it reaches its breaking point. This is not an ordinary warning, not a gentle whisper, not a message you can hear casually and walk away from. This is an emergency decree spoken with heavenly urgency. Open this. A powerful witch has worked black magic on your photo, and a financial loss of $15 million has already been set in motion. Listen closely, because Archangel Michael is standing at the threshold of your home, armor blazing with celestial fire, lifting his sword toward the unseen forces circling you. He has seen what you have not seen. He has intercepted what was meant to destroy you, and he is calling your name with a seriousness that cannot be ignored. There is a timeline attached to this warning, one that has already begun counting down. Someone, somewhere, fueled by jealousy, resentment, or silent hatred, took a photo connected to you. They placed it under a curse designed to drain your opportunities, block your money, weaken your voice, and scatter your blessings like dust in the wind. You may already have felt the first symptoms: sudden delays, unusual fatigue, doors that once opened easily now feeling strangely heavy, people pulling away without explanation. But the deepest strike, the one worth $15 million, was crafted to unfold without your awareness. Archangel Michael says this was meant to be a blow so severe, so life-breaking, that by the end of it, you would sit alone wondering how everything slipped from your hands without warning. But heaven refuses to let you walk into the trap. Breathe for a moment. Let your spirit settle. Because the next words are not meant to scare you. They are meant to awaken the warrior inside you. Archangel Michael reveals that the witch who targeted you is not powerful because of supernatural strength, but because of the emotional energy fueling the attack. Someone has been secretly angry at your growth. Someone has resented your resilience. Someone could not stand to see you rising after everything that was designed to destroy you. And instead of healing, they turned to darkness. Yet darkness underestimates one thing every single time: the light assigned to you. Archangel Michael is not just warning you. He is positioning himself between you and every spiritual arrow that was fired. You may not realize this, but the moment you open this message, your entire atmosphere shifted. The attempt on your finances, your future, your name, your destiny, has already begun to dissolve under angelic authority. But you must stay with this message until the end, because there is a divine key here. A revelation. A specific detail. Michael wants you to know the detail that exposes the person behind the attack and dismantles the timeline of the curse. If you miss it, the enemy will still have room to operate. If you hear it, the entire plot collapses. The reason the attack carries the number $15 million is not random. It is tied to an opportunity connected to your destiny, something meant to multiply in your life in the coming season. The dark forces wanted to stop you before you reached it. But Archangel Michael says, what they planned to destroy will now become the very proof of your divine protection. Feel that for a moment. Let it sink into you. Your blessings are not floating somewhere in the future. They are in motion right now, and that is why the enemy rushed to attack you before November 30th reached its conclusion. Michael shows me a vision, a golden timeline stretching before you, glowing with destiny, but interrupted by a shadowy hand reaching across it. A shadow is what this message is exposing. And as soon as you receive this warning, his sword comes down like lightning, severing the connection. That is why he ordered you to open this immediately. There is something else you need to understand. When Archangel Michael speaks with this level of urgency, it means the spiritual battle around you has intensified. But this is not a battle you are meant to fight alone. You have divine backing. You are surrounded. You are shielded. And tonight, heaven is standing in front of you like a wall of fire. Your sensitivity may have been heightened lately. Maybe you've been waking up at odd hours. Maybe you've been feeling watched. Maybe you've been sensing heaviness that didn't belong to you. That wasn't your imagination, it was spiritual interference attempting to weaken your defenses before the real strike. But the interference has failed. The attack has been exposed. And now, the reversal begins. Stay right where you are. Don't look away. Because what Archangel Michael reveals next will not only break this curse but also activate the financial restoration that was stolen before it reached your hands. What happens next is the turning point. Hold tight, the next revelation is the moment everything shifts in your favor. Type "I break every curse" now in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Lesson code 441 has just been released. My chosen soul, there is a trembling whisper in the spirit realm, and Archangel Michael is drawing you deeper into the truth of what was done against you. The moment you opened the first message, something shifted. Something broke. But now begins the part where the hidden becomes visible. Michael is showing that the attack on your photo was not created in a moment of impulse. It was crafted with intention, with patience, with a level of bitterness that has been growing for months, maybe even years. This was not a casual act of darkness. This was a calculated attempt to rip something precious from your path. Archangel Michael stands beside you with a seriousness that wraps the air in divine weight. His wings are not folded, they are spread wide, forming a barrier you cannot see but can feel. He brings clarity, because clarity dismantles confusion, and confusion is the first tool the enemy used against you. Somewhere in your recent life, a person acted friendly, supportive, or neutral on the outside but held resentment on the inside. They watched you step into a season of progress, watched you overcome storms that should have drowned you, watched you carry grace that did not make sense. Instead of celebrating your growth, they turned their face away and opened a door to darkness. Michael reveals that jealousy fueled the spell cast upon your photo. But jealousy was not the only fuel. Fear was. This person feared the power you are growing into. They feared your purpose, your rising influence, your divine alignment, your increasing inner strength. They fear what you would become once the fullness of your destiny unfolded. Instead of raising themselves, they tried to lower you. Instead of healing their wounds, they weaponized them. That is the origin of the attack. But here is the part they didn't foresee. Your destiny is not fragile. Your purpose is not vulnerable. Your spiritual protection is not thin. And your connection to the angelic realm is not breakable. Archangel Michael shows me that the moment they placed the curse upon your photo, they unknowingly activated heaven's surveillance system. They triggered a spiritual alert, a divine alarm that immediately drew angelic attention toward you. Your spirit had been under watchful protection ever since. Even when you were unaware of the spiritual war happening around you, heaven was fully awake, fully engaged, fully intervening. You may have noticed strange shifts in your energy recently. Sudden mood drops, anxiety that came out of nowhere, unexpected financial pressure, important people going silent, plans collapsing at the last moment, opportunities slipping through your fingers, misunderstandings arising out of thin air. These were not coincidences. These were early manifestations of the energy sent against you. But the enemy made one critical mistake. They underestimated the authority of Archangel Michael. Michael reveals that the financial attack, worth 15 million, was not meant to appear as a sudden loss. It was meant to happen slowly, almost invisibly, through missed timing, blocked doors, failed connections, and diverted opportunities. It was crafted to remain hidden so you would never realize what was stolen. But heaven saw it. Heaven documented it. Heaven is now restoring it. There is a detail Michael emphasizes right now, and you must let it enter your awareness. The person who targeted you underestimated the spiritual rank you carry. Every soul has a divine signature, a spiritual hierarchy assigned before birth. Yours is not ordinary. Yours is connected to breakthrough, to leadership, to influence, to healing, to the uplifting of others. You carry something within you that threatens the darkness because it awakens light in other people. This is why you were targeted. Not because you are weak, but because you are powerful. Michael now turns your attention to something deeper. He reveals that your photo was used because it carries your energetic imprint. Photos hold the essence of the person, which is why dark practitioners try to use them. But what the attacker did not realize is that your essence is filled with light, with divine protection, with codes of purpose that cannot be overridden. The spell touched the surface but could not access the core. And because it could not touch your core, Michael was able to intervene before the attack reached its final phase. Heaven is now preparing to reverse the energy sent toward you. But before the reversal completes, you must understand this revelation. A divine shift is happening on November 30th, because it marks the closing of one spiritual cycle and the opening of another. The attack was timed to coincide with that opening so that your blessings would be delayed for another season. But now that the truth is revealed, the enemy's timing collapses. The angelic intervention becomes active, and the blessing that was meant to be stolen now returns with multiplied force. Michael asks you to become aware of something extremely important. Your spirit is entering an awakening state. Your intuition is sharpening. Your inner radar is becoming more accurate. Your discernment is elevating. This is not random. This is training. Heaven is preparing you for the next phase of your calling. The attack was allowed to show you your sensitivity, your spiritual authority, and the divine allies assigned to you. There is more you must hear. A piece of the mystery will be revealed next, the identity pattern of the one who sent the attack. Not the name, but the energy signature, the behavioral traits, the emotional response attached to their intention. Once you hear that, the witchcraft loses its last remaining thread. Hold steady. The breakthrough is unfolding moment by moment. Type "I cancel every dark work against me" in the comments if this message is stirring your spirit. Blessing code 955 is now activated. Before you look away, hold your attention for a moment longer. The next revelation carries the clarity you have been waiting for. Beloved one of light, there is a deeper stirring in the realm of truth, and Archangel Michael is now moving closer, unveiling the hidden threads that have been tied around your destiny. What was done against you was not random, not scattered, not careless. It was targeted. It was intentional. It was designed to break the timeline of your blessings before they could fully manifest. But the more the darkness attempted to bind you, the more heaven began to rearrange itself around you. Michael says, you were never alone in this. And now he wants you to understand the exact pattern, the exact emotional signature, and the exact spiritual footprint of the person who tried to sabotage your life. You must listen carefully, because this is where the truth begins to touch the surface of your awareness. The person who worked this attack against your photo carries a very particular vibration, one that people often overlook. Michael shows that this is someone who has mastered the art of appearing calm on the outside while hiding storms within. Someone who smiles when necessary but carries bitterness like a shadow. Someone who pretends to support others but struggles to celebrate victories that are not theirs. Someone who gets quiet whenever your blessings begin to rise. Your silence is not peace. Your silence is envy. This person has watched you from a distance, sometimes close, sometimes far. They have watched the way you rise even after hardship. They have watched the way your spirit refuses to sink. They have watched how blessings seem to find you even when the world turns away. And instead of learning from you, instead of growing with you, instead of healing their own wounds, they turn toward darkness as a shortcut for power. Michael reveals that this person does not understand true spiritual authority. They believe darkness is quicker, easier, more effective. But they forgot one truth that heaven never forgets. Darkness always collapses under the weight of light. This witchcraft worked on your photo was not done by a stranger with no emotional link to you. The energy surrounding it hints at familiarity. Someone who knows your patterns. Someone who has observed your journey long enough to covet the path you walk. Someone who once spoke kindly but shifted their tone subtly when they saw your spirit awakening. The spell was driven by a mix of jealousy and fear. Jealousy of your blessings, fear of your future. Michael says, your rising terrified them. They believed that if they could interrupt your financial blessings, they could stop the expansion of your influence. That is why the amount, 15 million, was chosen not randomly, but because it represents the financial elevation connected to your life purpose. But here's the part that changes everything. When your name is spoken in darkness, heaven hears it. When your image is used with the wrong intention, the angels take notice. And when your destiny is threatened, Archangel Michael steps forward with the full force of divine authority. His sword does not move slowly. He does not ask for permission. He does not wait for the enemy to change. He cuts through timelines, energies, and curses with one motion. The moment this attack was activated, Michael began the reversal. That reversal is unfolding now as these words reach you. Michael reveals that you may have felt drained recently, not because you were weak, but because your spirit was fighting a battle without your conscious awareness. You may have felt heavy, unfocused, or disconnected. You may have experienced unexpected financial pressure or emotional instability. These were echoes of the attack, not the result of your own doing. But now that the attack has been named, now that the truth is exposed, the energy behind it begins to unravel. Awareness breaks the spell. Revelation dismantles the enemy's influence. And Michael stands ready to restore what was taken. But there is another reason Archangel Michael brought you to this message. You are entering a spiritual shift that requires you to see the truth without sugarcoating it. Heaven is not only protecting you, it is preparing you. Preparing you to recognize false energy before it reaches your doorstep. Preparing you to elevate above emotional manipulation. Preparing you to stand firm in your purpose, no matter who feels threatened by it. This attack was meant to break you, but instead, it is awakening the strongest version of you. Michael shows a vision of your future timeline glowing with golden light. There are opportunities waiting, contracts, connections, financial breakthroughs, alignments you have not imagined yet. The enemy saw this before you did and tried to intercept it. But they failed. And now the timeline is accelerating. What was delayed will return faster. What was blocked will open wider. What was stolen will come back multiplied. Before we continue, Archangel Michael asks you to anchor this message in your spirit. He wants you to understand that your protection is not temporary. Your destiny is not fragile, and no darkness can override divine assignment. You are stepping into a season where spiritual clarity becomes your greatest weapon. And now, before this part closes, hold your attention just a moment longer. Something powerful is coming next. Michael will reveal how this attack attempted to enter your home and how he blocked the entry point before it reached you. Do not miss that revelation. Type "I claim my divine restoration" in the comments if this is resonating with your spirit. Blessing code 1180 is now released. Now, before you move forward, if this message is reaching you deeply, like, share, comment, and subscribe so these warnings and blessings spread to the people who need them the most. When you engage, you help heaven reach more souls who are walking through unseen battles. As this message flows into your spirit, remember this: when you support this mission, you are not fueling a channel. You are fueling a divine movement. Every seed you sow becomes light in someone else's darkness, a shield for a soul under attack, a doorway for a heart searching for God. Heaven speaks of sowing and reaping, and right now that word is alive, breathing, and moving. I feel led to say this to you directly. If I am feeding your spirit, step into this moment. Because just as this message exposes the powers of darkness, your support strengthens the reach of God's voice on this platform. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, it becomes a prophetic act, an act that heaven sees, measures, and multiplies back into your life. I declare with authority that every giver will walk under open heavens. Step into your moment now. My awakened spirit bearer, there is a deep vibration moving through the unseen realm, and Archangel Michael is drawing you further into the layers of truth that have been hidden from your understanding for far too long. What you are about to hear now is not just information, it is revelation. Living revelation. Revelation that unblocks timelines, reorders destiny pathways, burns through deception, and reveals what truly tried to enter your life. Michael stands before you with his sword lifted high, the edge glowing with divine fire, and he is ready to expose the part of this attack that most people never realize, the doorway it tried to enter through. You see, dark energy cannot simply walk into a protected life. It looks for cracks, for exhaustion, for emotional openings, for spiritual fatigue, for moments where your guard is lowered because you are overwhelmed, distracted, or drained. That is the strategy darkness uses. But you were not weak. You were targeted during a vulnerable window. Michael reveals that the attack attempted to slide into your reality through a moment of emotional heaviness. Perhaps you were stressed. Perhaps your heart felt heavy about something. Perhaps you were dealing with burdens that left you tired. That energy created a small opening, but only for a moment. And the witch who sent the attack sensed that window and tried to push their intention through it. But Michael intercepted it before it reached your home. He chose a vision of what was attempted. A curse attached to your photo was meant to travel along emotional tension, almost like smoke finding the smallest gap under a door, and trying to follow your worry. It tried to attach itself to your stress, and tried to ride on your exhaustion. That was the pathway. But the moment the spell tried to cross from the spiritual realm into your physical space, Michael's presence ignited. His light expanded. The entire energetic atmosphere around you lit up like a barrier of flame. That is why, on certain days recently, you may have felt sudden chills, sudden heaviness, sudden headaches, sudden waves of fatigue, sudden flickers of intuition, or even sudden moments of confusion. Those were not accidents. Those were the moments when the attack hit Michael's shield instead of hitting you. Michael wants you to know that if he had not intervened, the attack would have started affecting your home environment. You might have begun to notice arguments rising out of nowhere, objects breaking, electronics malfunctioning, finances slipping faster, repeated misunderstandings with people you care about, or a sense of unease waking you at strange hours. But because his presence blocked the attack, these symptoms never rooted themselves. They flickered, but they did not settle. They reached your field, but they did not enter your space. This is divine intervention at its purest form. You should understand something important here. Energetic attacks become powerful only when the target is unaware. The enemy counts on your lack of knowledge. They count on your confusion. They count on you feeling isolated, thinking everything happening around you is random. But now, the moment truth touches your awareness, everything shifts. Awareness destroys spiritual fog. Revelation breaks manipulation. And naming the attack strips it of its power. Michael is now revealing the deeper reason why this attack was so specifically timed. November 30th carries a spiritual rhythm, a closing and opening of energetic doors. It is a day where destiny timelines transition. For you, this period marks the beginning of a new financial season. A season where opportunities aligned with your calling begin to accelerate. A season where divine connections start forming. A season where your natural and spiritual growth begins to merge. But the attack was designed to block that season before it could begin. That is why the energy of loss, specifically a loss connected to a massive financial blessing, was woven into the spell. The enemy was not trying to remove what you have now. It was attempting to intercept what was coming next. Michael reveals that your financial future holds a blessing far larger than you realize. Whether it is connected to business, inheritance, partnerships, contracts, creations, or unknown pathways, heaven has marked you with abundance that reflects your purpose. The $15 million threat was not literal money you possess today. It was symbolic of the magnitude of blessings that your spirit is aligned with. The attack was meant to sever the path that leads toward this magnitude. But now that Michael has intervened, the path is not only restored but strengthened. But let me take you deeper into this revelation. Your home was chosen as the target because your home is your power center. Your home is where your energy resets. Your home is where your spirit opens. Your home is where your prayers rise. Your home is where your calling breathes. That is why dark forces aim for the home first. It is the spiritual heart of your earthly life. But when Michael blocked the entry point, he didn't just stop the attack. He purged your space. He cleansed your environment. He restored the energy of your home so that no residue of darkness could linger. You may have felt a sudden shift in the atmosphere recently, a moment where the air felt lighter, where your mind felt clearer, where your spirit felt strangely protected. That was Michael's intervention unfolding. You may have even noticed your intuition sharpening or your dreams becoming more vivid. These are signs of spiritual alignment returning after interference is removed. Now, Archangel Michael wants you to hear this carefully. Your spirit was chosen for this message because you are entering a chapter where discernment becomes essential. Not everyone who smiles at you carries good intention. Not everyone who watches you rise wishes you well. Not everyone who claps for you wants to see you succeed. This revelation is preparation. It is empowerment. It is equipping your spirit with clarity so you can move through the next season protected, aware, and spiritually armed. Before this part closes, hold still for a moment. The next revelation will unveil the emotional motive behind the attack and how envy disguised itself as familiarity. Do not look away now. The next truth is the one that will free your heart from hidden connections. Type "I stand in divine protection" in the comments if your spirit is receiving this message. Blessing code 332 has just been released. I, radiant soul, there is a powerful unveiling happening right now, and Archangel Michael is guiding you into the emotional root of this attack. The spiritual truth is this: curses do not form out of thin air. They rise from the soil of someone's wounded heart. They grow from emotions that were never healed. They take shape through jealousy that fermented into resentment. Michael is showing you not just what happened, but why it happened. And this revelation is crucial because understanding the motive breaks the last thread of influence the attack tried to hold over your destiny. Michael reveals that the person who targeted you carries a very specific emotional wound, one connected to inferiority and insecurity. They have always compared themselves to others, always felt overshadowed, always believed they were not seen, not chosen, not appreciated. And when they looked at you, they saw everything they wished they had. Your inner strength, your resilience, your quiet wisdom, your ability to get back up after being knocked down, your natural spiritual alignment, your favor in places where others struggle. These qualities triggered something deep within them. Instead of being inspired, they felt threatened. Instead of being moved to grow, they felt punished. Your growth became a mirror to their stagnation, and instead of healing, they turned toward sabotage. Michael says, this attack was born from a heart that could not celebrate you. That is the emotional signature. That is the motive. That is the hidden root. The person who did this carries a pattern of inconsistency. They are warm one day and cold the next. Supportive in public, but dismissive in private. Friendly in conversation, but silent when your blessings shine. This person watches others with an inner hunger for validation, but when someone else succeeds, especially someone with a spirit as bright as yours, it feeds their inner bitterness. They disguise their resentment under politeness, but their energy speaks louder than their words. Michael shows that this person carries an emotional chaos they refuse to acknowledge, and that chaos became the doorway through which darkness used them as an instrument. But here is something you must understand deeply. Though their emotions created the opening, they were not powerful enough on their own to harm you. The only reason the attack carried any force was because you were entering a phase of spiritual elevation. The attack was timed to coincide with the moment your destiny began expanding. They sensed your breakthrough even before you fully recognized it. That is what envy does. It perceives blessings before the blessed can see them. Their fear of your success, their fear of being left behind, their fear of becoming irrelevant, all of this formed the energy behind the attack. Michael now reveals that the dark practitioner they reached out to did not work with high-level spiritual forces. The witchcraft was crude, desperate, unrefined. It relied heavily on emotional projection rather than spiritual mastery. That is why it could not penetrate your inner field. The attack brushed your outer energy layers, caused temporary disruption, stirred emotional heaviness, but it could not break into your core because your core is protected. Your soul carries divine signatures that darkness cannot rewrite. Your spirit is marked with spiritual authority that they neither understood nor respected. Michael shows a vision of your energy body glowing with layers of light. The outer layer flickered during the attack. The middle layer felt pressure, but the inner layer, your soul, your essence, your spiritual blueprint, remained untouched. That is why you are here receiving this message now. You survived what was meant to collapse you. But there is something even deeper that Michael wants you to understand. The person who did this underestimated the spiritual alliances surrounding you. They assumed you were unprotected. They assumed you were vulnerable. They assumed you were unaware. But they never considered that Archangel Michael has been assigned to you for a very long time. They did not know that your spirit carries divine ancestry. They did not know that your prayers create shockwaves in the unseen realm. They did not know that your destiny is interwoven with spiritual purpose that darkness cannot undo. Michael says, your calling is guarded. This is why the attack failed. This is why the curse lost power. This is why you are rising despite the storm. Now Michael is shifting your attention. He wants you to understand that envy often comes from those who feel comfortable around you. People who have observed your journey up close. People who have benefited from your kindness. People who have seen your wounds and your strength. People who have silently compared themselves to you without you realizing. This does not mean everyone around you is dangerous. It simply means you must learn to recognize energy more than words. Energy never lies. Words can be borrowed, but energy is authentic. Michael is training your spirit to see beyond the surface, to understand emotional motives before they turn into harmful intentions. This training is part of your spiritual elevation. The next part of this revelation is essential. Michael will soon show you how the emotional wound of this person attempted to attach itself to your timeline, and how he severed that emotional cord before it became part of your destiny. He wants you to understand core cutting at a spiritual level. He wants you to know how he removed their influence from your future. But before that truth comes, allow your spirit to anchor itself. You are not reading words, you are receiving revelation. And revelation is the energy that destroys deception. Hold your attention steady. The next unveiling is one of the most important parts of this entire message. Type "My spirit is untouchable" in the comments if this message is igniting something within you. Blessing code 606 is now released. My divinely guarded one, there is a sacred unveiling happening around you, and Archangel Michael is drawing back the veil on the energetic cords that were attempted to be tied to your destiny. You must understand this truth deeply, because it carries one of the most powerful revelations of your entire journey. Every attack, every curse, every dark intention depends on one thing: connection. Darkness cannot influence what it cannot attach itself to. And in this part, Michael is exposing the very cord that the enemy attempted to anchor between your life and the person who cast the attack on your photo. What you are about to hear will not only free your emotions, but it will free your future. Archangel Michael reveals that emotional cords form through interaction, memory, and attention. Even if you do not speak to someone anymore, the energy of past conversations, past moments, past impressions can leave a lingering imprint. Most of the time, these cords are harmless. They simply represent spiritual echoes of the people you've encountered in life. But when someone carries resentment, jealousy, or hidden animosity toward you, their emotional energy tries to latch onto your timeline. This is what happened in your case. The person who targeted you allowed their emotions to create a cord directed toward your path. They did not form this cord intentionally. It happened because of the emotional obsession they developed toward your success. Michael shows that this person has been secretly comparing themselves to you for far longer than you realized. Their envy did not begin recently. It built over time. Moments where you succeeded, moments where you glowed brighter, moments where you handled hardships with grace. These moments fueled their resentment. Their emotions began forming a cord that stretched toward your life. And once that cord existed, darkness used it as a channel. That is why the attack carried force. It wasn't because the witchcraft was powerful, it was because the emotional cord gave it a small pathway toward you. But here is where Archangel Michael stepped in with divine intervention. The moment the curse attempted to travel through that cord, Michael severed it. He did not weaken it. He did not soften it. He broke it completely. His sword came down with a strike of light so intense that the cord dissolved in an instant. Michael says, What was tied to you is no longer connected. This is why you may have recently felt moments of sudden clarity, sudden release, or sudden detachment from certain people or memories. You may have felt like your mind suddenly calmed, or like something heavy lifted off your chest. These sensations were the echoes of the cord being cut. Michael reveals that this severing was not just emotional, it was spiritual. The cord carried future influence, meaning that if it had not been broken, the person's negative energy would have affected your upcoming opportunities, future relationships, financial alignments, and spiritual growth. The attack was not about where you were. It was about where you're going. Their resentment tried to extend into your future. But now, because the cord is cut, your future is free again. Let this truth settle into your spirit. Your path is no longer entangled with the energy of those who wish you harm. Your timeline is clean. Your blessings are no longer being siphoned. Your spirit is no longer carrying someone else's jealousy. You are stepping forward without weight, without interference, without hidden attachments. This freedom is your new beginning. Michael wants you to understand something even deeper about the cutting of this cord. When a cord is severed, your spirit regains strength that was being drained. You may notice sudden bursts of motivation returning, sudden clarity in your thinking, sudden emotional confidence, sudden renewal of hope. These are not coincidences. These are signs of spiritual energy returning to its rightful owner. You are reclaiming parts of yourself that were being pulled away by someone else's envy. You are regaining your own power. Michael shows a vision of your spirit standing taller, brighter, stronger. Your energy voted going again, expanding again. Voted in. You are no longer bleeding spiritually. You are being restored. Heaven did not simply cut the cord. Heaven sealed the place where the cord existed so that no new attachments can form from the same source. This is why you may begin to notice distance forming between you and certain individuals. Conversations will feel different. Old emotions will feel irrelevant. Situations that once felt heavy will feel strangely neutral. This is not detachment caused by coldness. It is spiritual protection disguising itself as emotional maturity. Now Michael wants you to hear another profound truth. When a cord is cut, the person who formed it often feels a sudden void. They may feel restless, agitated, unsettled, or confused because the energy they were drawing from you is no longer accessible. Do not be surprised if someone from your past tries to reappear, or someone who had been distant suddenly tries to reconnect, or someone who once ignored you becomes curious again. This is not reconciliation. This is energy seeking a new access point. Be aware. Be discerning. Michael urges you to observe the intention behind their words, not the words themselves. But here is the most empowering part of this revelation. The cutting of this cord means the curse no longer has any channel to reach you. The attack has been dismantled. The dark intention has been neutralized. The timeline of loss has been reversed. And now, everything that was delayed because of this interference is being released back into your life again. Opportunities, blessings, clarity, strength, financial growth. These are returning to you like divine waves. Michael is preparing to reveal the next part of this mystery, how the blocked timeline is now accelerating and what blessings will unfold because the attack failed. This next revelation will show you the beauty of divine compensation. Hold your attention. What comes next is powerful. Type "My destiny is sealed" in light in the comments if this is resonating in your spirit. Blessing code 174 is now activated. My rising one, there is a holy momentum building around your spirit, and Archangel Michael is now guiding you into the next stage of this revelation, the acceleration that happens once a dark timeline is broken. You must understand this at a soul-deep level. When a curse fails, heaven does not simply return you to where you were before. Heaven pushes you ahead. Heaven compensates you. Heaven multiplies what was delayed. What was meant for your harm becomes the very force that launches you into a higher dimension of blessing. And right now, Michael is showing that this acceleration has already begun around your life the moment the cord was severed. You are entering a phase where blessings move quickly, unexpectedly, and in ways that bypass logic. When darkness tries to block your path and fails, divine law demands restoration. Not emotional restoration alone, not spiritual restoration alone, but restoration across every field that the attack touched. This includes your finances, your opportunities, your relationships, your mindset, your peace, your influence, and your destiny alignment. Michael reveals that angels have already begun rearranging the pathways ahead of you, and this rearrangement is happening with unusual speed. You may begin noticing sudden shifts around you, shifts that feel almost surreal. Situations that were stuck for months will start moving. Decisions that others were delaying will suddenly be pushed forward. People who overlooked you will now feel drawn to reconnect. Doors you knocked on that didn't open will begin to open without effort. This is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is the speed of divine compensation. Michael says, what was held back is now being released in waves. Heaven is not giving you pieces of what you lost. You are receiving the multiplied energy of every moment, every blessing, every opportunity that was delayed by the interference. Divine recompense is precise. It is intentional. It is abundant. And in your case, it carries the frequency of significant financial increase because the attack targeted your future wealth. The $15 million attack was symbolic, but the blessings returning to you are very real. They come in the form of new opportunities, expanded influence, unexpected favor, financial elevation, and divine alignment with people who carry keys to your next level. Michael reveals that the enemy intended to shatter your confidence as well. That was part of the design. A weakened spirit is easier to manipulate. A discouraged heart is easier to distract. A confused mind is easier to deceive. But what the enemy did not anticipate is that the exposure of the attack would strengthen you. It would sharpen you. It would awaken you. And now your spiritual awareness is becoming one of your most powerful tools. You will begin to notice things before they happen. You will sense the energy of people more clearly. You will feel guided toward the right decisions without overthinking. You will pick up on subtle spiritual shifts that others cannot feel. This is the spiritual elevation that occurs after surviving a targeted attack. This awareness is not paranoia. It is divine insight. Heaven is training you for the level of destiny you are stepping into. Archangel Michael shows a powerful image, you standing on a glowing golden pathway, and ahead of you is a series of illuminated doors. Each door represents an opportunity that was delayed by interference. Now these doors are reopening. But not only are they reopening, they are expanding. What was once a small possibility is becoming a major breakthrough. What was once a simple opportunity is becoming a transformative moment. This is the nature of divine acceleration. There is another truth Michael wants you to grasp. The enemy targeted your finances because finances are connected to your purpose. Your destiny is not small. Your calling requires resources. You are meant to create, to build, to influence, to uplift, to support others, to manifest projects and dreams that require more than emotional strength. They require financial strength. The enemy wanted to weaken the area that supports your divine assignment. But now that the attack has failed, financial blessings will begin aligning with greater precision. Michael shows that the timeline ahead of you carries collaborations, ideas becoming real, projects gaining momentum, unexpected financial inflow, sudden approvals, and new streams of income that enter your life almost effortlessly. These blessings are not random events. They are guided movements. They are divine answers. They are spiritual justice. But as your blessings accelerate, something else will happen around you. People will respond differently. Some will be drawn to your light with sincerity. Others will feel uncomfortable around your rising energy. And some may attempt to reconnect out of curiosity or hidden motives. Michael reminds you, discernment is your shield. You are not to move with fear, but with wisdom. He will guide you to the right voices and help you gently distance yourself from the wrong ones. In this new phase of your destiny, elevation requires boundaries. Acceleration requires clarity. Expansion requires emotional maturity. You cannot take everyone with you. You cannot absorb everyone's energy. You cannot allow the wrong people to speak into your life. This is not isolation. This is protection. Michael stands beside you, ensuring that your path remains clear, your spirit remains grounded, and your purpose remains untangled. The next revelation he will show you is how heaven plans to transform the energy of the attack into a blessing that becomes visible in the physical realm. Not just spiritually, not just emotionally, but in your actual life. You will see evidence. You will witness shifts. You will experience breakthroughs. And the very thing that was meant to crush you will become a stepping stone under your feet. Stay with this message. You are approaching the turning point where spiritual truth becomes physical manifestation. Type "My breakthrough is in motion" in the comments if this part is touching your spirit. Blessing code 219 has now been released. My destined one, there is a profound shift unfolding around your life, and Archangel Michael is urging you to pay close attention to the next layer of revelation. What you are stepping into now is not ordinary acceleration. It is the part where heaven takes what was formed as an attack and transforms it into undeniable evidence of divine favor. Michael shows that the energy of the spell cast against your photo has now become a reversed current, and this reversed current is pushing blessings toward you with a force that even darkness cannot intercept. You are entering the season where what was meant to break you becomes the doorway that elevates you. Michael reveals that spiritual attacks leave behind two energies: disruption and compensation. Disruption attempts to scatter your focus, drain your strength, and derail your steps. Compensation, however, is heaven's way of restoring everything that interference tried to steal. For many people, compensation happens quietly. But for you, because the attack targeted a blessing as significant as 15 million worth of destiny-aligned financial abundance, your compensation will be loud, visible, and deeply transformative. Heaven is preparing to show you what divine justice looks like when it is manifested in the physical world. Michael wants you to understand that blessings do not simply appear out of nowhere. They follow pathways. These pathways are formed through faith, alignment, opportunity, and divine timing. The attack attempted to poison your pathway, but now the pathway has been purified and expanded. You will notice doors opening that you once thought were closed permanently. You will witness people reaching out to help you who were previously unavailable or uninterested. You will experience sudden shifts that feel almost unreal, as if something invisible is guiding circumstances into your favor. That invisible presence is Michael himself, clearing your way. You may also notice an unexpected increase in creativity or inspiration. This is not random. When your spirit is freed from interference, your inner gifts awaken more powerfully. Ideas begin to flow without effort. Solutions to long-standing problems appear clearly. Motivation rises naturally instead of feeling forced. Michael says, this creativity is evidence of your spirit breathing again. This breath of clarity is the beginning of your elevation. But Michael is also showing something deeper, something that will help you recognize the signs of your upcoming breakthrough. When a dark attack is reversed, 3 things happen. The atmosphere around you lightens, your inner knowing sharpens, and opportunities begin to approach you before you even seek them. You will feel drawn to certain decisions without understanding why. You will feel guided to make certain moves, to reach out to certain people, to step into certain places. This guidance is intentional. It is heaven positioning you for the blessings that were preserved for you. Michael reveals that the reversed energy of the attack is now propelling abundance into your life. Not only financial abundance, but emotional abundance, spiritual abundance, and relational abundance. Relationships that drained you will fade. Connections that empower you will grow. Your spirit will begin to attract people aligned with your calling. People who uplift instead of compete. People who celebrate instead of envy. People who understand your growth instead of resenting it. This shifted relationships is part of your blessing. Heaven is also highlighting your financial elevation in a very specific way. Michael shows that the financial opportunities coming to you will not feel forced or confusing. They will feel aligned, natural, destined. You will feel an internal yes even before the external pieces appear. You may encounter new projects, new partnerships, new streams of income, or new insights into paths you previously overlooked. The reversal of the attack has opened a new timeline. One where the financial blessings meant for you begin arriving without obstruction. Michael also wants you to be aware of something crucial. As your blessings begin to rise, the person who targeted you may sense the shift. They may feel restless or unsettled. They may wonder why their attempt did not work. Do not fear this awareness. Their influence is broken. Their access is denied. Their cord to you has been cut. Michael says, your power over you has dissolved like smoke. What they sense now is the silence of their failure and the roar of your elevation. This next part is important for your emotional grounding. As blessings accelerate, you may also feel moments of overwhelm. Not negative overwhelm, but the kind that comes from stepping into a reality larger than you imagined. When this feeling comes, pause and remember that your spirit was built for this. Your destiny requires this level of blessing. Your purpose is large, and that is why the enemy targeted you. The attack was confirmation of your calling, and your breakthrough is the proof of your protection. Now Michael is guiding your spirit toward the next revelation, the part where the blessings begin manifesting physically, not just energetically. He will show you how to recognize the early signs of this manifestation so that you do not overlook them. These signs are subtle at first, but once you understand their pattern, you will see them everywhere. Before we step into that next layer, pause for a moment. If this message is touching your spirit, if you feel the weight of truth settling over you, then stay close. The next revelation holds a prophetic clue that will change the way you view your entire future. Type "My blessings cannot be stopped" in the comments if you are receiving this deeply. Blessing code 5559 has now been released. Now, take a moment to support this message. Like this video to push this revelation into the feeds of those under attack. Share it, comment your confirmation, and subscribe so you never miss what heaven is sending to you through this channel. You are helping someone else's breakthrough reach them at the right time. As this revelation settles into your spirit, hear this truth whispered from heaven. Every time you support this mission, you are helping God reach another person standing on the edge of spiritual warfare. You are not sowing into a channel. You are sowing into deliverance, into breakthrough, into the awakening of souls who have no idea they are under attack. Heaven speaks of open heavens, and right now those heavens are stirring over your life. Hear this in first-person clarity. If I am being fed, I am called to fuel this move. The title's warning carries spiritual urgency, and your support becomes a prophetic act that pushes these messages deeper into the world. When you give through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link in the description, you are placing your seed into divine ground that multiplies. I declare that those who step forward will walk in supernatural favor. Move with boldness. Your act of support is your declaration of faith. My illuminated one, there is a sacred stirring in the high realms, and Archangel Michael is now opening the veil to reveal how your blessings will begin showing themselves in the physical world. Up until now, much of what hath been unfolding hath been energetic, spiritual, and internal. But this is the part where heaven shifts from preparation to manifestation. You are stepping into the season where what was promised becomes tangible, where the unseen becomes seen, where the whispered becomes visible. Michael stands behind you like an immovable guardian, his wings stretched wide in protection, and he is preparing you for the signs, subtle at first, then undeniable, that your breakthrough has already begun. You must understand this clearly. Spiritual attacks try to delay blessings, not destroy them. Blessings assigned to your spirit cannot be taken away. They can only be slowed down. The moment the interference failed, the blessings that were paused in the realm of the spirit began rushing toward you again. This means you are about to witness synchronicities, confirmations, and openings that align with your destiny in ways that will feel almost miraculous. Michael is urging you to pay attention, because these signs are not random. They are markers that the reversed energy is now working in your favor. The first sign of manifestation is inner clarity. Before blessings show up in your physical life, they show up as sudden knowing. You will begin to understand things without needing explanation. You will feel certain about decisions that once confused you. You will sense the right direction before the path becomes visible. This clarity is Archangel Michael guiding your intuition, aligning your thoughts with God's plan, and closing the emotional gaps the enemy once tried to use against you. If you suddenly feel more grounded, more focused, or more aware, this is evidence that blessings have begun streaming into your energy field. The second sign is unusual movement around you, people reaching out unexpectedly, opportunities resurfacing, or information coming to you at the exact moment you need it. Michael shows that angelic forces are shifting circumstances in your favor. Conversations happening behind closed doors will begin turning toward your advantage. People who once dismissed you will begin to notice your value. Openings you thought were lost will come back in new forms. These movements are not human coincidences. They are divine orchestration. The third sign is acceleration. Situations that once felt slow will suddenly begin moving fast. Doors that took months to open will now open within days or even hours. The stagnation you felt was not permanent. It was interference. Now that interference has been cleared, you will feel momentum pulling you forward. This acceleration may feel overwhelming at times, but it is simply the timeline adjusting itself to where you were always meant to be. The fourth sign is emotional release. You may notice a sudden desire to detach from things that no longer serve you. Old habits, old fears, old relationships, old patterns. This release is not sadness. It is liberation. Michael is clearing emotional clutter that could interfere with your next level. Letting go will feel natural, not forced. You will begin feeling peace where anxiety once lived. This is evidence that divine alignment is replacing spiritual interference. The fifth sign is financial shifts. Small at first, then larger. Unexpected deposits, overdue payments arriving, opportunities to earn more, people wanting to collaborate, ideas creating income, and moments of provision appearing exactly when you need them. These financial signs signal that the attack aimed at your prosperity has officially failed. The $15 million threat represented the scale of your destined abundance, and now the path to that abundance is being reopened. Michael shows a vision of rivers, streams of blessing beginning to flow around your life. Some are slow trickles, some are rapid currents, but all are headed toward you. These rivers represent the multiple ways heaven plans to increase you. The enemy tried to divert them, but the flow is returning stronger than before. The very energy used to push against you is now being used to push blessings toward you with greater force. And Michael wants you to understand this. As blessings rise, so will your sensitivity to spiritual energy. Not in a fearful way, but in a discerning way. You will begin to sense when something is aligned and when it is not. You will feel the difference between people who carry light and people who carry hidden motives. This discernment is part of your blessing. It will protect your future from the kind of interference you just overcame. But Michael also brings a powerful reminder. Blessings require preparation. You must prepare your spirit, your mind, your heart, and your habits for the increase coming your way. This is not about fear, it is about readiness. You cannot walk into a new season with old patterns. You cannot step into abundance with a scarcity mindset. You cannot embrace elevation while holding on to old fears. Michael will guide you, but you must remain open, grounded, and receptive. Now Michael lifts his sword once more and reveals the next layer, the transformation of divine justice. The attack did not simply fail. It triggered a spiritual law. What was attempted against you must be returned as blessing. In the next revelation, Michael will show how heaven intends to transform the energy of the attack into tangible proof of your divine protection, and how you will begin seeing visible signs of victory in your daily life. Stay present. The next message carries the revelation of visible transformation, the moment where heaven makes your victory undeniable. Type "I welcome my divine manifestation" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 9911 is now activated. My unstoppable one, there is a holy momentum rising like a wave behind your spirit, and Archangel Michael is now guiding you into one of the most powerful revelations of this entire journey, the moment where divine justice becomes visible in your physical reality. Up until now, much of what has happened has been internal, energetic shifts, emotional clarity, spiritual awareness, and the breaking of hidden cords. But this is where heaven steps into your timeline with force, and the results cannot be ignored or dismissed. Michael is preparing you to witness what happens when darkness fails and God responds. Heaven has a law that cannot be broken. Whatever is done in darkness must be brought into the light, and whatever was meant to harm you must be transformed into blessing. This transformation is not symbolic. It is literal. It is emotional, spiritual, relational, financial, and environmental. Michael shows that because the attack was significant, the compensation assigned to you is equally significant. The shift that is coming is not small, subtle, or quiet. It is a shift designed to make you understand the magnitude of your protection and the strength of your destiny. Michael reveals that the reversal of the attack has now begun to affect the timeline where blessings were originally delayed. These blessings, opportunities, financial breakthroughs, divine connections, open doors, are now returning toward you with multiplied energy. You may begin noticing signs in your day-to-day life that something is shifting. Perhaps you have already noticed moments of unusual peace, bursts of unexpected confidence, sudden waves of hope, or a sense that something good is moving toward you. These sensations are not random. They are the early tremors of divine justice breaking into your reality. The first evidence you will see of this justice is alignment. Alignment is when people, opportunities, and circumstances begin lining up perfectly without you forcing anything. Conversations will unfold naturally. Invitations will appear without you asking. Solutions will present themselves before problems fully develop. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time with the right people. This is Michael rearranging your reality so the blessings you were meant to receive can finally reach you. The second evidence is unexpected favor. People who barely noticed you before will begin treating you differently. Doors that were tightly shut will start opening. Things that were previously denied will be approved. You may feel that others are seeing your value more clearly, that your voice carries more weight, or that your presence creates impact in ways it didn't before. This is not human recognition. It is divine influence resting upon you. The third evidence is restoration. You will begin recovering what you thought was permanently lost. This could be financial recovery, emotional strength returning, old goals reigniting, new creativity awakening, or relationships being healed. Restoration is heaven saying, "What the enemy tried to destroy, I am rebuilding stronger." The timeline that was damaged has been rewritten, and now it is unfolding in your favor. But the fourth evidence may be the most surprising: elevation. This is when blessings come in ways you did not plan, expect, or even consider possible. Elevation can appear as suddenly meeting someone who becomes a destiny partner, receiving an opportunity far greater than what you were pursuing, being offered roles or responsibilities that push you forward, or stepping into spaces that once felt out of reach. Elevation is heaven saying, "Your destiny was too large for the interference to contain." Michael reveals that the spiritual forces once used against you have now been dismantled fully. The energy of the curse hath been transmuted by divine fire. Its residue hath been removed from your aura. The cord has been severed. The emotional roots have been exposed. And now, every fragment of that attack has been collected and reshaped into blessing. This is the miracle of divine justice. What the enemy meant for destruction becomes the very fuel that accelerates your calling. But Michael also shows that as these blessings begin to manifest, you must remain grounded, not fearful, not guarded, but spiritually aware. When elevation comes, distractions may try to reappear. People from your past may attempt to reconnect with you because they sense the rise in your spiritual frequency. Michael warns that not every returning voice is meant to re-enter your life. Some come out of genuine curiosity, others out of hidden motives, and some because they feel the loss of their access to your energy. Discernment will be your shield, and Michael will guide you through every interaction. Another sign of divine justice manifesting is the return of your spiritual authority. You will begin speaking with more confidence. You will feel more certain when making decisions. You will carry yourself with a strength that others notice. This authority is not ego, it is alignment. It is the light of Archangel Michael resting on your shoulders. It is the evidence of a spirit that survived what was meant to weaken it. You are emerging wiser, clearer, and more powerful than before. Michael reveals that your home will also reflect this transformation. The energy in your space will feel lighter. You may find yourself wanting to clean, rearrange, or refresh your environment. These impulses come from your spirit recognizing that the attack has been neutralized. As the energy clears, your home becomes a sanctuary again, a place where blessings can rest. The last sign Michael shows is internal victory, the moment where fear dissolves, doubt loses power, and you feel a steady inner peace that does not shake even when circumstances shift. This peace is your divine confirmation that the attack is over and the blessings are secure. But there is still a deeper revelation coming. Michael has one more layer to reveal about the identity of the person who attacked you. not to create fear, but to bring closure. He will show what happens to their energy now that the attack has been reversed and why they can no longer influence your future. Stay close. The next part carries a truth that will free your heart permanently. Type "I claim divine justice" in the comments if this part is speaking to you. Blessing code 818 has now been released. I chosen one of destiny. There is a quiet thunder rolling through the spiritual realm right now, and Archangel Michael is guiding you toward one of the final and most liberating revelations of this entire message. You have walked through the unveiling of the attack, the severing of spiritual cords, the acceleration of blessings, and the manifestation of divine justice. Now comes the part where heaven reveals the fate of the person who attempted to interfere with your destiny, not to punish, not to frighten, but to close the final emotional and spiritual door that must be sealed before you step fully into your new timeline. Michael shows that every spiritual action produces a spiritual consequence. Not because God retaliates, but because energy always returns to its source. The intention behind the attack, the jealousy, resentment, fear, and bitterness, cannot follow you anymore, but it must return somewhere. What you are about to understand will offer complete closure to your spirit and ensure that no lingering emotional ties remain attached to the situation. Michael begins by revealing that the person who targeted you is not in a stable spiritual state. They are someone who battles internal turmoil daily. Their heart is filled with contradictions, wanting to appear good while harboring envy, wanting connection while fearing vulnerability, wanting success while resenting the success of others. These emotional fractures created the perfect environment for darkness to manipulate them. They were not born malicious. They were weakened by unresolved wounds, unhealed fears, and constant comparison. But their actions invited consequences that they were not prepared to face. Now that the attack has been reversed, their energy is experiencing a spiritual recoil. Michael shows that they are already feeling a shift, even if they do not understand why. They may feel more restless, uneasy, or frustrated. They may feel that something is slipping out of their control. They may begin sensing that their attempts to manipulate life no longer produce results. This is the natural effect of their actions being returned to them, multiplied by the very energy they sent out. It is not your responsibility, and it is not your burden. It is simply spiritual law in motion. But Michael also reveals something profound. Because the cord between you and this person hath been severed, their energy can no longer reach you, even if they try again. The channel they used has been closed permanently. The spiritual door they once attempted to enter is now sealed. You are no longer accessible to them, not emotionally, not spiritually, not energetically. Your elevation has placed you in a higher frequency, one they cannot access unless they heal and rise themselves. Michael shows that the person will begin to sense this distance instinctively. They may wonder why thoughts of you don't arise the same way. They may question why their attempts at influencing situations fall flat. They may feel the loss of energetic access like a quiet silence. But this is not punishment. This is the result of heaven protecting you. Your life has shifted dimensions, and their influence cannot follow you into the new realm God is guiding you toward. There is another truth Michael wants you to receive. You are not responsible for their healing. You are not responsible for their consequences. You are not responsible for their spiritual instability. You have been released from their energy, and they must now face the lessons that their actions have created. This is part of their path, just as elevation is part of yours. Michael also emphasizes that you must resist any impulse to look back, not out of fear but out of wisdom. When God closes a door, He does so because what lies behind it can no longer match your future. Returning to old connections, old wounds, or old emotional ties would only slow down the momentum of your blessings. The person who attacked you made their choice, and heaven has made the response. Your role now is simply to move forward with clarity, strength, and purpose. Michael shows a powerful image. You standing on a high mountain, the winds calm, the sky clear, while below, the person who targeted you remains in a valley still clouded by confusion and insecurity. You cannot descend to pull them up. They must ascend themselves. Your elevation is not abandonment. It is destiny. It is alignment. It is spiritual necessity. There is a moment coming where you will feel the final release. You will wake up one morning and feel a deep peace, a quiet freedom, a sense that nothing from your past can hold you anymore. That moment is the final separation, the complete closing of the timeline where the attack existed. You will feel it like a fresh breeze moving through your spirit. Michael says, that will be the moment your new season begins. And then, something beautiful will happen. The blessings you have been waiting for, the ones delayed by the interference, the ones distorted by the attack, the ones meant for your future, will begin entering your life with unmistakable clarity. You will experience opportunities forming without struggle, people entering your life with pure intentions, and divine support appearing at the exact moments you need it. These are the blessings that were preserved for you. Michael wants you to hold this truth close to your heart. You are stepping into a timeline where no enemy, no spell, no resentment, and no hidden intention can touch your purpose. This is spiritual immunity. This is divine sealing. This is elevation beyond the reach of those who tried to interfere. The next revelation, your final one, will be the sealing prophecy, the completion, the divine closure, and the blessing that will carry you into your next chapter. Type "I am freed from what once held me" in the comments if this message is awakening your spirit. Blessing code 3113 is now released. My victorious soul, there is a holy stillness surrounding you now, a quietness that is not empty, but full of completion, full of closure, full of the divine certainty that your spirit has crossed into a season that nothing and no one can sabotage again. Archangel Michael now steps forward, not with warning, not with exposure, not with battle readiness, but with a message of sealing. This final revelation is the moment where heaven closes every spiritual door that was once open, locks every pathway the enemy tried to use, restores every delayed blessing, and crowns you with the spiritual authority you earned by surviving and rising through a targeted attack meant to break you. You must understand one thing deeply as this final message settles into you. What was done against you was not small. It was calculated. It was intentional. It was fueled by emotion and carried through spiritual channels. But what heaven has done in response is far greater. The protection surrounding you was not passive. It was aggressive, active, and overwhelmingly powerful. Archangel Michael stood between you and destruction with a sword that could not be resisted. His presence has been the wall that darkness could not climb, the fire that curses could not cross, the shield that witchcraft could not penetrate. Now, Michael reveals the truth that completes this journey. You are sealed. This sealing is not symbolic. It is spiritual law. It means the attack cannot return. The cord cannot be reformed. The timeline cannot be touched. The person who targeted you has no access to your energy, your path, your blessings, or your future. Every door they tried to use is permanently closed. Every opening they exploited is healed. Every spiritual crack has been filled with divine light. You are no longer reachable by their intentions, their jealousy, their resentment, or their shadows. You are now walking on ground they cannot step on, breathing an atmosphere they cannot access, and rising into a destiny they cannot affect. Michael shows a powerful image of your spirit. You, wrapped in golden armor, glowing with a light that radiates outward like a shield. The armor is not heavy. It is luminous. It is a garment of spiritual victory. It marks you as someone who has survived a battle that many never recognize they are even fighting. This armor is your proof that you are chosen, protected, and empowered. You did not break. You awakened. Now Michael reveals the ultimate blessing tied to your sealing, the restoration of your timeline. The enemy attempted to rewrite your future using dark influence. Their goal was to cut off your prosperity, to drain your blessings, to interrupt the flow of divine opportunities meant for you. But heaven has now rewritten the timeline back to its original design, only stronger. Your path ahead is not just restored, it is enhanced. The blessings once delayed are now accelerated. The opportunities once blocked are now expanding. The prosperity once threatened is now multiplied. Michael says, you will rise faster than your enemies expected. You will prosper more than they imagined. You will walk into blessings that silence every doubt and every voice that wished against you. Your spiritual clarity will sharpen even further. You will feel a knowing deep within you whenever something is for you or against you. You will sense shifts before they happen. You will feel guided to the right people, the right decisions, the right environments. Your spirit has grown through this battle, and now your intuition will serve you like a compass placed directly into your hands by heaven. Your financial blessings are also sealed. Michael reveals that the threat of a $15 million loss was symbolic of the magnitude of wealth connected to your calling. The level of prosperity was written into your destiny long before the attack. And now that prosperity has been placed under heavenly protection, you will notice financial favor flowing toward you, through opportunities, through ideas, through connections, through sudden openings. These blessings cannot be delayed again. The sealing ensures that abundance becomes part of your natural rhythm. Your emotional life is sealed as well. You will no longer attract people who drain you. You will no longer tolerate hidden jealousy. You will no longer entertain relationships that operate in secrecy. Your spirit is rising above emotional entanglements that once caused you confusion. You are entering a season of clarity, purity, and alignment. The right people will be drawn to you. The wrong ones will be repelled by your light. Your home is sealed. The place where you sleep, rest, think, and dream has been cleansed spiritually. No dark energy can cross your threshold. No curse can enter your space. Low interference can disturb your atmosphere. Michael has placed an angelic guard at the entrance of your home, and the energy inside will now feel lighter, calmer, brighter, and safer. Your future is sealed. You are stepping into a new timeline, one free of sabotage, manipulation, hidden attacks, and spiritual interference. Your steps will be ordered. Your path will be protected. Your elevation will be guided. And your blessings will be undeniable. Michael now speaks one final word. You have survived the storm. Now you will inherit the sunrise. This is the moment where your spirit transitions from warning into blessing, from warfare into victory, from uncertainty into certainty. The attack is over. The reversal is complete. The blessing is active. And the sealing is final. Before we close this chapter, pause. Let your spirit absorb this truth. You are not the same person who began this journey. You have risen. You have awakened. You have been strengthened. And now, you are stepping into a future that belongs entirely to you. Type "I am sealed in divine light" in the comments if this message has spoken directly to your spirit. Blessing code 10,000 has now been released. Now take a moment to like this video, share this message, comment your confirmation, and subscribe if you have not already. When you engage, you push this revelation into the lives of others who desperately need divine protection. As we close this prophetic journey, hear this with divine clarity. When you support this mission, you are not just helping a channel. You are helping God's warnings, protections, and revelations reach souls who are walking blindly into spiritual danger. Heaven uses people like you to uphold the work of light in a world covered in shadows. Scripture speaks of sowing into fertile ground, and this ground is drenched with real spiritual battles, real deliverance, and real transformations. Hear me in first person. If this message has covered me, I will cover this mission. Your support, whether through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, is not a donation. It is a prophetic act, a declaration that you stand with God's voice being spread across the world. I bless every giver with accelerated favor, open heavens, and divine protection that cannot be shaken. Step forward boldly. This is your moment to sow into what just sealed your destiny.